isn't our country. This country was founded on genocide and culture and taking it from indigenous people. Whoever the wants to come here should be able to come here. Why did we get to come here? Why did my ancestors get to come here? They were actually fleeing oppression of the UK. So it's just like the cycle repeats itself until it doesn't. Like, this isn't our country. This is Turtle Island, and it belongs to indigenous people. And it wouldn't have been the United States of America if it wasn't for culture.
And genocide.
And genocide.
A lot of the people that are coming out of the country, we don't know who they are, and they change their names once they cross the border. You guys have any issues with that?
I mean, we don't know who's in this country.
Yeah.
Do you know how many shooters and serial killers and people in this country that are incredibly violent?
How many politicians are rapists who literally run our country and are here to keep us safe? And how many cops have been brutally hitting students, young children? Like, videos of children looking out the window, watching their friends get beat by adult grown men. What the f?
Go to Bentis. The devil himself.
Just don't pay attention to it because, I don't know, because it's not sexy or cool to talk about or cool to work on, but our power grids are like 60, 70 years old.
It's going to be cool when the lights don't go out.
And people, exactly. And people are like, no, that just happens in that movie Die Hard or something, Die Hard 4, whatever it was. I'm like, no, I mean, it's not that hard to shut off a power grid through a cyber attack. And once you get it down, to get it back online, I mean, just think of it. I don't want to get into the numbers. There's not a lot of these things that control the electricity supply to the country. For people who don't know what a power grid is, it's literally just like a switch that says, you got electricity over here, we're going to take it in and give it to you over there. Right? It's just a relay system. And we haven't upgraded those in forever. And I'm not talking just physical infrastructure. I'm talking, how do we protect it from cyber attacks from the CCP, from Russia and Iran and other bad actors. And we don't really have a focus here because that's an intel directive. And to pull back on it, the NIPIF, the National Intelligence Priorities Framework, is a president's rack and stack of what they want the intel community to focus on. Tier 1, 2, 3, 4. For us in the Trump administration, it was terrorism, hostages, the never-ending wars, Iran, the CCP, Russia, boom, Tier 1. And the DNI with the president changes that based on what he wants. And then the intel community says, okay, CIA, you got, and I'm making up numbers, you got 5,000 people on this? This is your Tier 1 for 5,000 people. Go. Same thing, NSA, DOD, FBI, given their specific lines of effort. The NIPIF now, it reads like a children's playbook. Tier 1, DEI, just don't pay attention to it because...
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today, I'm not going to yap long. We have a long video. It is nighttime. I'm doing this video at 10:36 at night. So I'm in my PJs and my nightgown, and I'm going to be doing my little self-care, you know, how I do all my lives. So I'm not going to yap any much more. We have a long video, a lot of content, a lot of stuff to get through. So go get whatever you need to chill with me. And let's get to the content, y'all. So without any further ado, I'm trying to rush this, obviously. So without any further ado, go get whatever y'all need, like I said a few seconds ago. And let's get to it. So let's go.
Children's playbook. Tier 1, DEI, Tier 1, diversity, equity, and inclusion for every agency and department. Tier 1, LGBTQ stuff. Tier 1, white rage. And the people doing the work can't collect the intel that you need to secure this nation against things like electric grids because they're not allowed to look there.
How vulnerable is it to outside attacks?
Big. It's big because once they hit it, we can't fix it fast. Look, we just saw Paris during the Olympics just got blacked out. Ain't a coincidence after the opening ceremonies. And again, I think President Trump has talked about this, you need to overhaul the infrastructure around these systems to safeguard us from what I view as one of the easier threats our adversaries can deploy against America. There's also those are harder to trace, too. So that's the other thing. The sourcing would be much harder on that than, say, a kinetic operation like a 9/11 style attack.
I mean, is there any contingency plans up at the top on if that were to happen?
So there's this thing called COOCOG capabilities, like continuity of government, and everybody's heard about locations around America. I can't really talk about, but there's a continuity plan for government to keep going, and for enough personnel to be around to make sure we can do all those things and supposedly defend the nation and have the commander-in-chief and his cabinet secure and do all that. But there's no contingency plan to say if you wipe out the electricity west of Mississippi, how are we going to turn it on? It doesn't exist.
I mean, that's great that government's still going to function, but
Yeah.
but I guess what I'm getting at is if the grid goes down, we'll eventually just kill ourselves out of desperation. There will be no food, there'll be no water, there'll be no medical, there'll be no communication, there'll be no nothing.
Yeah, I guess it'll be like one of those end of the world shows, you know?
I mean, did they talk about this up there? At that level? Do they even understand what will happen if the grid goes down for
I know we did when we were in. I know we did. And again, this is the type of lift that you're not fixing overnight. You got to get Congress's buy-in to budget this, to allow the agencies and department to go in and make this a priority, to allow companies to come in and rebuild the infrastructure and fix it. Same with our nuclear programs and our nuclear arsenals. It's the same deal.
So we're fucked.
I think we have an ability. That's why I think this election is so important, not just for everything we've talked about to this point, but in terms of national security and defense, which is sort of my wheelhouse. We have an opportunity to come in and reprioritize all the things that you and I have just been talking about so that the American people are safeguarded, because they've been neglected for too long, because these are not been priorities of the current administration and some of the previous administrations.
How likely is that method of attack, do you think, from Russia, Iran, Korea, China?
Something's going to happen, if not already. Here's the other thing. The intel community right now is playing catch-up on half these attacks because, again, it wasn't a priority to preemptively detect them and thwart the attack. And so, not only playing catch-up, not only is it a deprioritization of intelligence collection and enforcement, you also don't have a will in D.C. to fix and upgrade any of this stuff. So I've always said they're gonna come at us in some fashion during this election cycle. I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like or if we're gonna know right away.
What do you think about what I was telling you this morning about the pristine opportunity to hit us? When I was talking about, I wasn't saying it's not a prediction, it's what I would do. And it seems to me we would be, let's say Trump gets in, day one of his presidency would be the weakest possible point that they could hit us.
Yeah.
Correct? Because from that point forward,
Yeah.
the way I think, the country will begin to strengthen. So it would be at the weakest point on day one of his...
Children's playbook.
Did he do that? Because isn't the power grid still an issue?
I just don't know how to do it with the name of the water.
Okay, so right before it gets... Are you trying to edit the picture? I say right towards the end of it. Good timer. That's a little better. Did you try the QR code reader?
Yeah, I already tried it.
Oh, what if we record it
And then go back?
and then... Yeah.
Wait, I can't record it on phone.
Wait, I am recording. Duh. Okay,
Okay, so just go back.
let me rewind.
Shouldn't you stop it and go back? Because that's 2 minutes long. Stop the recording.
I'll just kind of with my phone. Oh, you know what? I was gonna do it with,
Well, I can do it myself. Freaking got it.
what the hell?
Abandoned amusement park? A Mercer County attraction, a Native American burial ground violent deaths, freak accidents, and a simple reason for such a dark past. Haunted places, attractions are private. Why is it that? What? I don't get it.
We're ready? What is that supposed to mean?
Mercer County?
That's suspicious.
I don't know.
First of all, how do we know that that was the QR code? By the time they actually scanned the QR code, and if so, it's creepy as hell. I wouldn't be caught dead in there, literally.
And his story, his history is the history that rings true, that we all follow by, right?
His story.
But that don't mean it's the reality of the situation. It's the truth that was forced upon everybody because of the victor. So the same thing goes with history. And we just think about it on the terms of, oh, they don't talk about slavery and they don't acknowledge that enough. You know what I mean? But it's even deeper than that. It's even deeper than that. And the fact that we are, what's the best way to put it? We are in a world, a new world that exists on top of a multitude of other worlds. And we know this when we go here in Atlanta, we go downtown Atlanta, we'll see a lot of buildings with 1/8 of the windows showing over the curb.
Yeah.
That building goes down 4 or 5 floors because at one point in time, that was the ground. So there was a mud flood that covered this whole planet. I mean, remember the pyramids back in the day, it was all the way almost up to the Bin stone. The Sphinx was buried. We forget that all this stuff was buried and things was excavated out. Where did all that mud and dirt and sediment come from? So there was a situation where direct energy weapons was you use the right frequencies, you can melt rock. You could use the right frequencies that can cause you to not be able to hear anything. And so they was attacked with some type of sound weapon that essentially created radiation that resulted in Archie breaking down even further, you know? So yeah, I say I tell them to look up the orphan trains and look up how the origin of asylums, these big asylums, you know what I'm saying?
Huge buildings.
Yeah, and look up the mud flood and look up Tartary and Tartarians and the Tartarian history, and it'll blow your mind, you know, and go around your city and you'll start seeing structures that if you look at the buildings of today, they're not built to last. But when you look at some of these structures in these cities, especially when you go on tours,
Still standing.
they're still standing. Not only are they still standing, you cannot figure out how they were built. And the buildings were built in a way to tap into the ether, because Earth is a realm more than it is a planet. All right?
Yeah.
And the realm of Earth is saturated, inundated with power and energy to be tapped into. And the buildings used to be created with functionality to tap into said energy and transfer energy into the home. So you didn't need all of this other stuff because all the energy was free and ambient around you to tap into.
There ain't nothing else I need to say after what he said in that regard. He stated it perfectly.
Satan's Hollow in Cincinnati, Ohio, is a series of drainage.
Ain't that horse? Ain't this the year of the horse? And that sound was creepy. But I never really I watched Stranger Things like the first season or two, but I haven't been into it. But what I will say is I'm gonna have to get into it so I can do a video reaction on just Stranger Things by itself because it's Stranger.
Underneath the Cincinnati, Ohio suburb of Blue Ash, there's a system of drainage tunnels that many refer to as Satan's Hollow. According to legend, a group of Satanists performed dark rituals deep within the tunnels. It's said that they even went so far as to engage in human sacrifice, with their chants and the screams of their victims echoing through the grates of the city for miles around. Some even claim they opened a gate to hell and summoned Satan himself. And he appears on occasion in the form of a black, shadowy man, guarding the tunnels from those who would seek to disrupt the dark rites taking place deep within.
I'm gonna have to ask my friend from Ohio about this. Granted, he's not from Cincinnati, but I'll see. Maybe if it's that much of a legend, I guess it should be known throughout Ohio. I don't know. I've never been to Ohio, but I'm gonna ask him because I want to know.
Wicked seems like a wholesome musical for the whole family, but it's actually an indoctrination into the occult through hidden messages of alchemy and the reconciliation of opposing forces, aka the go with the bobs. For the evolution of man into God, plot spoilers coming. To unlock these godlike superpowers, one needs to channel an entity. In Wicked, we hear Elphaba describe it as something that takes over her.
Something just takes over me, and something I can't control.
Later on in the movie, she reads from the Grimoire and she allows a spirit to channel through her, which is a way the Solomonic methods are used to trigger the magician's subconscious. Lon Milo Duquette tells us the words can be absolute gibberish, it doesn't really matter. When they're given their dormitory assignments, you can see a name on the roster. It's Alistair Charmanti. This is a reference to the occult magician of charms, Aleister Crowley, which makes sense since Aleister Crowley was known as the wickedest man in the world. It's of no surprise to see his cousin's grandson, Nathan Crowley, is the production designer for Wicked. In the occult, there's a progression for mankind. It's called the evolution of consciousness. This is why they show us animals with the ability to talk. Through theosophy, L. Frank Baum believed mankind could unlock superpowers like telepathy, levitation, and clairvoyance, all of which we see in Wicked. The alchemy is the process one takes to become God. That's why we see Elphaba carrying the book of alchemy with a sigil on it. Later on, she channels language from the Grimoire, which is literally the lesser key of Solomon, a spellbook or grimoire used to summon demons, just like the sigil seen on the alchemy book that Elphaba is carrying. She's also got a book with a dragon on it. This is an alchemical reference to the union of opposing forces of red and green dragons. Elphaba, of course, is the green dragon here. When opposing forces are reconciled, it creates what they call the Philosopher's Stone, and it's the union of divine spirit, soul, and body, aka the Great Work. That's why the Great Work is accomplished by going to the Emerald City, which is a reference to the Emerald Tablets upon which Hermes Trismegistus, aka Thoth, gave mankind this hidden wisdom of alchemy. Ariella Grandes has a long history of Kabbalah, so none of this is a surprise to me. In fact, I discussed her occult symbolism in 2018, and YouTube torched my channel. She was depicted as Akati, the goddess of witchcraft, just like Glinda in Wicked. Join me for a full 90-minute breakdown. We'll talk about the inversion tactics from Disney, Wicked's smutty websites, the Gnostic messaging of Wicked. Elphaba gets initiated through a resistance, struggle, and mutation process of ritual magic, which goes all the way back to Theosophy and Zoroastrianism, which is why Oz's full name is Oscar Zoroaster. He's rocking the all-seeing eye necklace, and in the original Oz books, the Wicked Witch of the West only has one eye, because it symbolizes the all-seeing eye, the enlightenment of man into the occult concepts to create new God. My podcast is called Occult Symbolism and Pop Culture. Go find it.
I did see that on him. And y'all know how I feel about all of the esoteric, all that. I really feel like you can, we all have powers, we all have abilities, and we all have gifts that can be given by the Most High, and it can be given by Satan, and you can use it for good and you can use it for bad. But they use it for things that is not of the Most High.
And I'm a backslider. Y'all pray for me. Bible said the fool makes the marks out of God. He's nothing to be played with. And food and heart says there's no God, but God is real. I used to come home drunk from school, laying up with men, out there prostituting, having oral sex with my mouth, licking men's balls. Thank you.
Amen. Remember you in prayer. Anyone else have a word from the Lord, a testimony of God's goodness? Oh, Lord. I just thought that was funny to throw up in here, but baby, she said she came for her confessional, huh? Bless her heart.
According to the Akashic records, if Adam and Eve were the only humans on the planet, how would it be possible for them to populate the earth? Wouldn't we all be products of incest? Please give us a breakdown.
According to the Akashic records, the story of Adam and Eve as the only two humans on earth is a symbolic teaching, not a literal historical account. It was never meant to describe biological lineage in the modern scientific sense, but rather to encode a deeper spiritual message about human consciousness, polarity, and the birth of duality on Earth. Let's break it down. Were Adam and Eve the only humans? No, not in the literal sense. The Akashic perspective shows that many souls were incarnating during early Earth epochs, but the Adam and Eve story focuses on a specific soul pair, archetypal beings who volunteered to experience the full descent into polarity consciousness. They represent the first to fall into full separation, self-awareness, and karmic memory. Other human-like beings existed on the planet at the time. Some descended from different soul templates or star-seeded lineages, like Lemurian, Atlantean, or Anunnaki hybrids. Adam and Eve's story is one timeline, not the origin of all flesh. What about their children? The children of Adam and Eve, including Cain and Seth, Abel having been slain, are symbolic of branches of consciousness, not just literal children. When texts say Cain found a wife in another land, that implies other tribes or beings were already present, meaning human life was not limited to a single family. This also means that the notion of incest as the only way to populate the earth is based on a misreading of metaphor. The story wasn't about biology. It was about how the soul, when split into masculine and feminine polarity, began to multiply experiences, relationships, and karmic entanglements across timelines. So what's the real message? The deeper Akashic truth is this: Adam and Eve represent the first human souls to embody the illusion of separation. Their offspring are energetic patterns of consciousness like duality, ego, violence, and spiritual longing. Humanity as a species did not begin with them, but their choices rippled through the collective field, shaping the trajectory of Earth's spiritual evolution. So no, all of humanity is not descended from incest. The Earth was already populated with various beings, soul groups, and lineages when Adam and Eve's story unfolded. The garden myth is a cosmic parable, a mirror for our own inner exile and the path home.
Interesting. She did say entanglement, though. And this thing is hot.
This is Babylon, ancient Egypt, Rome, Sodom and Gomorrah, and Nineveh, multiplied by 1,000, all existing in one geographical location. It's a 2,000 by 3,000 square mile hell. That's what America is. America is Satan's headquarters. This is where the evil is rooted at and where it's spread all over the world. So, you know, we gotta come out. We hostages right now. We got to come on out of this thing. As the scripture says, come out of her, my people, that you be not partaker of her sins and her plagues. So as long as we stay among them and we participate and do the evil that they are tempting us to do, we're going to get the judgment that they're going to receive. That's why the minister is who he is. He's God's man raised to try to warn us and say, look, come on out of her, my people. We so messed up though. that asked Pharaoh yesterday with Moses. Moses went to Pharaoh and said, Pharaoh, let my people go. We're so messed up that the minister has to come to black people and say, look, my people, let Pharaoh go. He don't even have us no more. We got him. We got a bad Stockholm syndrome or battered woman syndrome. We got plantation psychosis.
Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Yes, sir.
I agree, and it's the United States is in hell, and so is this damn hot ass facial. Got my face feeling like I'm in hell, and my lips feeling like they. Woo! But I agree.
For those of you who haven't heard, there will be a complete solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024, and this is the path that it will take. It will pass straight through the United States, crossing 7 cities named Nineveh. If we add the path of the last solar eclipse, which was 7 years ago on August 21st, 2017, it makes an X over the center of the United States. That solar eclipse went through 7 cities named Salem, which according to the Bible, Jerusalem was first called Salem or Shalom in Hebrew. So the eclipse 7 years ago went through 7 cities named Peace, and now the next solar eclipse, April 8th, will go through 7 cities named Nineveh, which was the name of the city in the book of Jonah, which the Most High was going to judge if they would not repent. Something interesting, though, is that this X in Paleo-Hebrew actually makes the last letter in the alphabet, which they call a Tav. But what makes it even more interesting is that if we add the previous solar eclipse to these two, it makes the shape of an Aleph, which is the letter A in Paleo-Hebrew. So these two letters, Aleph and Tav, in the Greek or English translation would be Alpha and Omega, or the beginning and the end of the alphabet. Revelation 22:13 says, I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life and may enter in through the gates into the city. This is a sign from the Most High for anybody with eyes to see or ears to hear, showing that he is in control and that we should be preparing for what is ahead by keeping the commandments, building up our faith with our works, and being set apart. If this isn't enough proof for you that there is something coming, there have been over a dozen states that have declared a state of emergency already in advance for April 8th. Dozens of schools and school districts have closed their doors months in advance for the date of this eclipse, which none of them did. For those of you who haven't heard, there will be a complete solar eclipse on April 8th, 2024, and this is the path that it will take. It will pass straight through the United States, crossing 7 cities named Nineveh. If we add the path of the last solar eclipse, which was 7 years ago on August 21st, 2017, it makes an X over the center of the United States. That solar eclipse went through 7 cities named Salem, which according to the Bible, Jerusalem was first called Salem or Shalom in Hebrew. So the eclipse 7 years ago went through 7 cities named Peace, and now the next solar eclipse, April 8th, will go through 7 cities named Nineveh, which was the name of the city in the book of Jonah, which the Most High was going to judge if they would not repent. Something interesting, though, is that this X in Paleo-Hebrew actually makes the last letter in the alphabet, which they call a Tav. But what makes it even more interesting is that if we add the previous solar eclipse to these two, it makes the shape of an Aleph, which is the letter A in Paleo.
So I stopped it in the middle because that happened last year. If you guys don't remember, we had the eclipse in April 8th, and I wanted to bring it back this year because it kind of ties into the topic in which we're talking about. So let's go to the next segment. Let me go and dry off my face, and let's get to the next segment. Let's go.
You gotta turn to Christ. He's the only way. You don't love him, you don't have Jesus. If you don't have Christ, it is. It's about Jesus. He's the only way. If he's the only way, the only truth, and the only life. It does matter. Your soul is on the line. Right? Your soul is on the line. We all walk and we are not talking about anything. Your soul, you are. When you do your chant, your little ritual, you're spreading it. And if your peace is not rooted in Christ, then it's false peace. And I love you enough to tell you that. I love you and your fellow monks to tell you that what you're doing is you're walking your way to hell, and I don't want that for you. No, it's not okay. If we have to go to hell, it's okay. No, God did. Amen. God didn't make you for hell. It's okay. Wow, what love is that? We would love if
Exactly. We go to hell, we made that choice.
That's not your way. I want you to get on the right way.
Not let us go the way we
if
are.
I didn't say anything, it'd be like you were in a burning house and I didn't say anything.
I
love
got your
you.
message already.
I love you, and I'm
No,
gonna
I
be
love
here
you
every step of
seriously.
the way.
I'm telling you, I love you, and
I love
I
you.
wish you well and happy and peace.
I want you to walk.
And I understand your message.
I want you to walk.
And we have our own journey. You have your own
And we're
journey.
gonna-
So let
I
us
look
walk
forward to
on
it.
each. Let us walk on each our own path. But at the end, we always come together.
No, love
Yes.
has no fellowship with the unfruitful
Can you
works of
please
darkness,
let him walk?
but rather expose them. Stop talking to me. I'm not here to hate on you. I love you. I truly do. But I know right now you're walking your way to hell, but you don't realize it.
It's okay.
Walking your way to
We
hell.
okay with it.
All these people around here,
Okay,
boy, and him going to hell.
Okay,
I love
if you're
you
not
too much.
okay with it,
I love
if
you
you're
too
not
much.
okay with it,
I love you too much.
then you take care of yourself. We take care of ourselves.
Hey,
And I'm here
man.
with you every step of the way.
Okay,
Every step of the
if
way.
that is your
That's the
your-
truth.
God is
if
called, I
that's
love
what you
you
want
guys.
to do,
And I
can't
don't
be
want
out here
you guys
judging.
deceiving people. And you may not realize it, but you guys are deceiving people. You are. There's no peace from within. Only peace comes from Christ.
are you at peace?
I'm at peace with Christ.
Really? You at peace?
Yes.
Okay. May you be well, happy and peaceful. All right. May you be well, happy and peaceful.
at peace. You look like
Looks can be deceiving, right? Can I give you guys a word?
Cause like why? Like the radicalness, do you think that Jesus would be okay with you doing that? Like you get more bees with honey than you get with vinegar. And it's like, you know, in the Bible, you go from when Jesus was born, his early years, and then it breaks off, and then he comes back in his adult years. Can we ask ourselves what he was doing? Maybe, you know, if you go to the parts of the Bible that has been, you know, redacted from the actual Bible at which we were given to read, you will see that he was studying with all of them. How else was he versatile? He was able to commune and break bread and talk to everybody. He never ostracized nobody. He never did that. Only person he was against was Lucifer. Like how are you going to bring people into the faith by doing that? And then you wonder why the church numbers have went down. Like you wonder why people are not going, because it's like, come on now. Aren't we all God's children? Doesn't he accept us all as we are? Don't he know what we're going to be before we're going to be it? So why are we doing this? Boy, I tell you.
Hey man, let's talk about these Buddhist monks. Y'all ain't gonna say nothing, but I'ma just come on out and say it. Them boys got that shit on, don't they? Yeah, man. Buddhist monks, y'all come here. Look, I gotta pop your collar, or I guess the hem of your robe right quick. Yeah, come here. Let me pop your. I have always thought that Buddhist monks got some of the coldest fashion sense. Like, look at the color scheme. Do you see a palette? Do you see the saffron orange with the burnt maroon? Oh, you killing them. Here's what's so cold about it. It's so effortless and fly because, you know, the whole MO behind Buddhism and how they dress is like non-materialistic. You know, it's supposed to be unassuming and humble. Whole time, he killing them. He killing them. Nigga, if Nike come out with the colorway to match the Kasaya, we see all these fashion influencers talking about, 2026, minimalism is in. It's all about the uniform. The Buddhist monks been had it figured out. They been killing them. They walking across the country for a very noble cause. To show you motherfuckers how to dress. Did you know that the robe you see him wearing is called a kasaya? And that orange color it gets is really from saffron and roots and tree bark and stuff. They take old discarded materials and they dye them with these natural things. And it just makes this beautiful color, man. I mean, phenomenal.
Yes.
We're hearing in the last 24 hours, nations have erupted and World War III warnings are now being issued to Donald Trump in the United States. Take a look at the latest headlines with me. You can see here, China and Russia demand that Trump releases Maduro as World War III fears grow. Russia slams Trump, vows to defend Venezuela as World War III fears erupt. World War III soon. You can see this coming out all over the headlines in the last 24 hours. Kim Jong-un enters the U.S.-Venezuela conflict, issues a stern message to Donald Trump, says, leave my friend or else. Trump triggers World War III in U.S.'s backyard. Venezuela FM rallies Latin American nations after Maduro's kidnapping, they say. Now, we are hearing that Donald Trump, he has issued warnings to various nations. Trump issues a threat against multiple countries following Venezuela's strike. And take a look. One of those was Colombia. Come and get me. The Colombian president's war of words with Trump now escalates. Cuba also faces an uncertain future after the U.S. topples Venezuelan leader Maduro. And take a look at this. Now, this is really concerning to NATO members. Trump weighs using U.S. military to acquire Greenland. The White House updated 14 minutes ago. And also, take a look at this. Mexico should indeed be concerned. Trump's threat rattles Mexican officials and businesses. And we are seeing just moments ago, Trump has announced that I am pleased to announce that the intermittent authorities in Venezuela will be turning over between 30 to 50 million barrels of high qualified sanctioned oil to the United States of America. So, man, there are so many headlines and so many nations that are starting to jump into the mix of what's happening with the United States and Venezuela, and there are World War III warnings left and right. Let me know your thoughts. Are we about to enter into World War III? If you think so, put a WW3 in the comments, as we're hearing that China, Russia, North Korea are responding to what's happening with the Venezuelan president. We're seeing other nations that are being threatened by the United States. There is a lot taking place, and NATO is concerned because that all nations band together when there is an opposing threat against one of the nations. But what if one of the nations is threatening another one of the nations as a part of the NATO alliance? So it is getting very concerning.
Yes, indeed. But I will say this in regards to Greenland. If you haven't watched the first Greenland movie, watch that. But I need to go see the second one because I need to figure this out. I need to go to the movie theaters.
America, Mr. Trump, pay attention. Right now, January 1st, 2026, while you're celebrating New Year's, Russia just made history. Year-round military service. 261,000 men. Every single year. No breaks, no exceptions. Here's what Americans need to understand. Our reservists now protect every power station, every railroad, every critical infrastructure. What does that free up? Our professional forces, elite units, specialists. Their only focus now, operational readiness. That's it. Trump, you wrote the art of the deal. Here's Russia's position. We're done seeking approval from Washington or Brussels. Agreements from the 90s, unfulfilled. So we adjusted. This impacts our economy. 261,000 workers annually. But weakness costs more. Being dismissed internationally. We experienced that before.
China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. China will never allow the United States to launch a war against China, conventional or nuclear, without suffering devastating consequences. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated, we call it 61, because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of today, let me tell you, which country has hydrogen bomb? China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes and destroy any target in any corner of the world without any possibility of being intercepted. I hope Washington has learned the lesson. If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious.
Whoo!
In the last 48 hours, 3 massive geopolitical events just happened and almost no one's connecting the dots. First, China just issued a direct warning to the United States. They officially stated they will not accept any country acting as a world judge or global policeman. Second, look at the Atlantic. The US has officially seized a Russian-flagged oil tanker. They're calling it a ghost ship, used to evade sanctions, but Russia is calling it piracy. We are now actively boarding Russian vessels in open waters. And third, right now, Iran has gone dark. A massive internet blackout is hitting the country as protests erupt nationwide. China's warning us Russia is being intercepted and Iran is disconnected. 3 superpowers, 3 major escalations, all in the same week. Tell me what you think in the comments.
Man, it's about to get wild.
So, like I said, he's playing both sides, right? He is connected to the York Rite of the degrees of Freemasonry, that is connected to the Council of Sem, because he's a super excellent master. The Council of Sem, which is basically the Council of Sam, because when you study ancient Proto-Semitic language, the E and the A are basically interchangeable. So the Council of Sem is the Council of Sam. Sem is Samael, and Samael in the Talmud traditions is El, which is equated to God. And then when you go to the H1408 Strong Concordance, God is equated to Gad, which is Gandriel in the book of Enoch, which is a nomenclature title for Satan, right? So this is the Council of Satan by way of the colorology when you're looking at him wearing the purple tie. Then you got the V for Vendetta symbolism of the movie. The V is an ancient Alf symbol that looks just like Donald Trump's tie on the Time magazine. That is also an emulation of the great sign before the sun sign of all the solar eclipses, which was basically in alignment with the black sun, right? So when you're looking at this ancient Alf symbol, you're looking at this on the tie, you're looking at this, the V for Vendetta, that is connected to Marina Trump when she was wearing the symbolism on the hat.
You can't make this shit up, man. Woo!
BlackRock warning, listen.
Scott, we've got a new post here on social media from the President of the United States who says he is taking action to deal with inflation in home costs. The President taking to social media to say that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes, and I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks. So the president here is saying that the American dream of owning a home has gotten out of reach for too many Americans, particularly young Americans, and says he is going to take steps to block large institutional investors from buying homes.
Large institutions very soon will no longer be able to buy single-family homes and rent them out to Americans. BlackRock warning, listen.
Scott, we've got a new post here on social media from the President of the United States who says he is taking action to deal with inflation in home costs. The President taking to social media to say that I am immediately taking steps to ban large institutional investors from buying more single-family homes, and I will be calling on Congress to codify it. People live in homes, not corporations. I will discuss this topic, including further housing and affordability proposals and more at my speech in Davos in 2 weeks.
Yah reminded me that the theme for 2026 and 2027 is the war years of America. And he started talking to me, might as well hear it, about power cuts. He started talking to me about not enough food, disruptions in food supplies, not being able to get the food that you want, which is basically just, it's either called shortages when you want a certain good, you want a certain amenity and you can't get it. And it's also called rationing, where what you want is there, but then you can't get as many as you want. Which means you might need to look into storing now, right? Because that is what Joseph did. Joseph knew when the famine years were coming. They were coming after you count 7 from where they were. You count 7. And then when that 7 ended, the next 7 were the starvation years. So when Joseph knew that, then he used the 7 to store, because then he knew in the following ones. And I fully understand what God was telling me. The first thing that I picked up is that God was telling me, don't you dare misjudge or underrepresent that when I said war years, I wasn't talking about having a squabble with Iran. Did you see how close we came to exchange of firepower? Because a lot of Americans misgauged what happened when the president went and took action against Iran, when he went and carried himself, right, into the middle of what was going on between Israel and Iran. A lot of people actually thought that Iran isn't able to respond. Iran is able to respond. Iran is able to respond. What Iran doesn't yet have is the absolute 100% ironclad assurances from 2 people that if she responds, she will not be alone. That's the reason Iran won't respond. Not that Iran can't respond. Iran can hurt America as much as America thinks that it can hurt Iran. But because America is who she is, as big as she is, Iran is that person who doesn't want to get into a fist fight with the rich kid, because the rich kid has a tendency to pull its NATO friends along, because it loves to start fights and then group drag everybody else to say, yeah, we're all going to gang up on you. And the thing is, because Iran constantly manages to hold their ground, Iran is an area of interest to both Russia and China. The day that Russia and China give Iran assurances, and don't think it will happen on the news. I already told you that Yah has shown me that it's all private conversation. It's not even text message by BlackBerry.
That's what she said in 2024. So now let's hear her recent post for 2026. And you guys know how I feel about Celestial. She has been right. You know, only thing she was wrong about was Kamala being the president. But we don't know what's going to happen going forward. So let's just keep that. But let's keep going.
I'm going to be blunt with you, America. Satan is very vested that Americans stay here and die. The devil is looking forward to the eventual massacre of as many as you as possible when the beast system starts. He is desirous. In fact, I can just bluntly tell you that almost all of you, if not all of you, say that everything I'm saying is a lie. And then you sit here and cross your legs, because all the devil is waiting for is the shutting of that border. And the shutting of that border is absolutely coming. I am not holding anything back from you. I haven't, and I'm happy to be as blunt as possible. Satan, it's not so much, oh, the beast government. Who is behind the beast government but the beast himself? And who is behind the beast but the dragon himself? Who does the beast get his power from? If America is the throne of the beast, and the beast himself is Barack Hussein Obama, who do you think is behind him? Don't you know that there's a hierarchy? There's a hierarchy behind that man. There's a hierarchy behind the plan. And the plan is that you mock. The plan is that you should scoff. The plan is that you should get as comfortable as possible and buy all the homes that you want and settle everywhere that you want until that border closes. And when that border closes, you're going to see something. And the thing you're going to see, I guarantee that after you see it, you're going to have 1,000-yard stare, and you are going to walk to Canada on your 10 toes with no shoes if possible, or even use the treetops to go across to Mexico.
Yeah, that's something that we need to, as a collective, start looking into.
That's unprecedented. That's historic. And prophetically, that's stage setting. But the Abraham Accords aren't the only prophecy being positioned. Because there's another prophecy, written by Ezekiel 2,600 years ago, that describes exactly which nations will align with Israel and which will oppose it. And when you look at what's happening right now, the match is stunning. Let me show you. Number 2, the Gog-Magog alliance. If you've studied Bible prophecy at all, you've probably heard of the Gog and Magog war. It's one of the most detailed, most specific, most studied prophecies in the entire Old Testament. Ezekiel 38 and 39 describe a massive invasion of Israel by a coalition of nations led by a figure called Gog, of the land of Magog. This invasion happens in the latter years, the end times. For centuries, scholars wondered, who are these nations? When will this happen? What triggers the war? And then, in the last 30 years, something remarkable occurred. The nations Ezekiel listed started aligning exactly as he predicted. Let me show you what the prophecy says, and then let me show you how what Trump just did fits into it perfectly. Ezekiel 38, 1-6, the invading coalition. Ezekiel 38, 1-6. And the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and I will turn thee back, and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth, and all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters, and all his bands, and many people with thee. Let me identify these nations using modern geography. Magog, Meshech, and Tubal, ancient regions in what is now Russia and the former Soviet states. Most scholars identify this as Russia and its sphere of influence. Persia, this is the easiest to identify. Ancient Persia is modern Iran. No debate, no ambiguity. Persia equals Iran. Ethiopia and Libya, North African nations. Some scholars include Sudan and other African Muslim nations. Gomer, likely modern Turkey or regions in Eastern Europe. Togarmah, also likely Turkey or Armenia. So the coalition is Russia or a Russia-aligned power, Iran, Turkey, and various North African nations, all invading Israel in the latter days. Here's what's stunning. That exact coalition is forming right now.
Let's keep going, you know.
This 1688 map shows it. I found it, and I've been looking for this. I found Magog and Gog, and it's all located in Tartaria. As you can see right there, Grand Tartary. And I'll even move a little bit, put it right in the center, and we'll see Mongol at Magog, and then below it shows Igog El Gog. So you have Gog and Magog right there, all in Grand Tartary. Really, really cool map here. And this is only a portion of it. There are so many interesting parts of this map, but I rarely find maps that will even show Magog or Gog on them. And then we have the Sea of Tartary, Sea of Moscow. Let's just go ahead and go around. Oh, I also thought this was really cool. Look at this. In the corner, they kind of show how they put their maps together, and this shows all the signs and symbols that are going around. And they have one of these in each of the four corners, so we kind of go out and I'll let you see the map itself too. You can see into the areas if you want to pause and look to see if you find something you like. Comment if you have any questions or thoughts. There's the middle right there showing the moon and its stages. Super cool. And then in the corner over here, it looks like they are showing numbers all the way around. It's really cool too as they count down everything. Interesting. We're going to zoom in on that. Sorry. So that looks like the North Pole and 4 different areas of land there. Let me try to think of that. That's pretty cool. That's always a mysterious one. Terra de Isio. And then California again showing as an island. The Red Sea right next to it. Always interesting. Got our Florida and everything else going through here. South America as always. Paraguay. Then you go down through here at the bottom and it has another one showing here. Sorry, it's too blurry to really make it out, but they're pretty cool. We'll go across. I wish I knew what all the wording said around this map. Yeah, they show all 3 that they did this with. I think that one on the bottom right there, if you can figure it out. It kind of shows how things run here. And this is the last one. I don't know. Thought these were all really cool. Thought this map was really, really interesting, especially the fact that I was able to find these cities. So let me know what you think in the comments. Like, follow, and share. Thank you for watching. Until next time.
A very interesting map. I would like to look at it in person myself and see it for myself.
The Wall of Gog and Magog. You didn't know that's what the ancient Great Wall of China really was? You didn't know it was built to keep giants out? Gog of Magog, by the way, and other giants in the land of Tartaria, Tartarus, sort of a Nephilim prison connection there, is what the wall was for. You may have even seen recent videos that show the wall where the side between what is now China and Russia, where the bow and arrow slits really were. They were facing towards China. They were defending something coming from over there, which ancient legends tell you were giants. Gog and Magog, also called Juj and Majuj in Muslim mythology, will also make their return at the end of time. And when they do, they're going to swallow up all the water. This makes me think of Revelation, when one of the trumpets is blown. Fallen angels are released from underneath the Euphrates River when it dries up. Sounds a lot like Juj and Majuj, somehow drying up the Euphrates River and then coming across. Giants with magical powers. That's what the wall was built for. Also, there are 2 wars of Gog and Magog. One is referred to the Gog of Magog. It seems to be pre-tribulation and probably what starts the tribulation. And one is at the end of the millennial reign. Why I say the war of Gog and Magog probably starts the tribulation is because you see that there's a 7-year treaty where they pick up weapons and clean up dead bodies. That's probably the same 7-year treaty that the tribulation is based off of. Lots more coming on Revelation, including, in my opinion, the definitive timeline. Also, if you check out old maps, anything that was beyond the Great Wall of Gog and Magog, you see words besides Tartarus references. You'll see lots of Nephthalia, Nephal, Nephilim, names of places. That's why. That was the land of giants. And even around the Ring of Fire, there probably was a land that they called Atlantis or Mu that was destroyed. Probably why the Ring of Fire is there. Just totally sunk down. The mysterious realm, hiding giants, hiding the real history. What else don't they want you to know? Follow my YouTube channel, The Savage Truth. Peace out.
This old Bible was printed in 1812. 1812. But the first name is 1797. It was found discarded in a dumpster in Aiken, South Carolina. An evil speaker cannot lie hid. Along with a trove of documents. The nation's oldest Mason succumbs at 93. I'm going to show you what's inside and maybe you can help me put the pieces together. 1828, 1857, 1893, 1921 in Minneapolis. From New York to Minnesota. This is Terry. This is the lady who gave it to me. Lynn Toole brought it to Joe Fells. September 17, 2025. Contains the Apocrypha. The Apocrypha is books of the Bible that used to be in there but was removed in the Protestant Reformation of the 15th century. Having it in a Bible in 1812 would have been considered heretical in Protestant America. The Book of Esdras, the Book of Tobit, the Book of Judith, the Book of Esther, which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldee. That's an interesting part. Cleopatra. Cleopatra is an Egyptian reference. Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, the wisdom of Solomon, the purported wisest man on earth. The wisdom of Jesus, the son of Sirach, aka Ecclesiasticus, uncertain author, the grandfather of Jesus. I studied about my whole life and never heard none of this, dude. Baruch, history of the destruction of Bel and the dragon cut off from the end of Daniel. Daniel is a book with a ton of end-time prophecies. Bel, that's another pronunciation of Baal, a pagan god and a symbol for the devil. And who the fuck is the dragon? And why was it cut off from the end of Daniel? This was marked in here. A one-page book, couple one-page books, and it was marked. Should we key in on that? The end time removed from Daniel, one of the wisest men in the Old Testament who foretold the dreams and the destruction to come. Prayer of Manasseh, king of Judah, while he was a captive in Babylon. Babylon has a bunch of other end time shit. First Maccabees, the second book of Maccabees, a letter of the Jews from Jerusalem to Egypt. The Jews wrote a letter to the Jews captured in Egypt. A lot of Egypt shit, man, is not in the Bible. Think about Egypt. Pyramid civilization, sun gods, rebirth. Interesting. And then the New Testament, 213 years old. The Apocrypha is placed after the Old Testament and before the New Testament. You would think the information in it is before Jesus and after the Old Testament. Why'd they take it out? Now, see what I found. Number 706. That's the area code for Augusta. Oh, shit. Oh, man.
We need to go down a rabbit hole or that Bible. We really do.
They came from the sky, the Hopi prophecy, whispers from the old world. In the deserts of the American Southwest, the Hopi elders have passed down a prophecy for thousands of years. And it begins with a warning. When the blue star Kachina dances in the plaza, the fifth world will emerge. But what if I told you that prophecy is unfolding right now? Beneath the dry mesas of Arizona lies a story older than America itself. The Hopi people, often called the oldest tribe in North America, speak of beings not from Earth, but from the stars. They call them the Kachinas, luminous sky beings who descended from the heavens in times of great transformation. The Kachinas didn't just visit, they taught. They showed the Hopi how to live in harmony with Earth, how to read the stars, how to listen to the land. The Hopi say they will return when the Earth is in peril. And here's where it gets strange. The Hopi Blue Star prophecy speaks of 9 signs before the purification of Earth, a time when an ancient balance is restored. The final sign? A blue star appearing in the sky, visible to all. A celestial event that signals a return of the Kachina, the Watchers, who bring judgment and renewal. In 2022, telescopes caught sight of a mysterious blue object moving erratically through the outer solar system. NASA said it was a minor comet, but it glowed blue, moved unlike anything they'd seen, and then vanished. Some Hopi elders whispered quietly, "The blue star has danced." The Hopi also say they were saved twice from world-ending cataclysms by the ant people, tall, thin beings with large eyes who led them underground during the destruction of the First and Second Worlds. Researchers note that the ant people resemble greys, but with spiritual purpose, guardians of humanity, not abductors. Could they be ET allies, watching, waiting? Satellite scans in recent years have picked up strange tunnels beneath the southwest desert, some that match where the Hopi say the ant people took them. The Hopi believe we are now at the end of the fourth world, a time of imbalance, corruption, and forgetting. The fifth world, they say, will be born through purification, fire, water, and truth. Solar flares are rising. Earth's magnetic field is shifting. Old systems are crumbling, and in their stone prophecies, etched in places few have dared to translate, there is a message. When the sky cracks open and the Star Brothers return, the true humans will awaken. What if we are the ones awakening now? Follow for more ancient history and the unexplained.
There was this prophecy of a Hopi chief. This prophecy goes back to where before the white man was in America. He had this whole sketch. So like obviously they didn't have a written language. It was all oral tradition. Then he said there's this separation at the end of this drawing where it's like it could either be chaos or it could be the coming of the Great Spirit again, or the Creator. It boiled down to one individual. It is known that our true white brother, when he comes, will be all powerful and will wear a red cap or a red cloak. He will be in large population belonging to no religion but his very own. He will bring with him the sacred stone tablets with him there will be two great ones. One will have the symbol, it looked like it just an X.
Yeah.
And when I read that, I just chills went down me. He mentioned that one of these people, the man with the X symbol, he said he will be a man of great invention.
I'm just now understanding the X reference.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Wow.
What the hell? Oh my God. Wow.
So we're entering into the Gregorian solar calendar year of 2026. We are on the cusp of entering into the red fire horse of the lunar Chinese calendar, and by the next new moon. Now just be aware the U.S. has entered into every world war that it has been in the year of the snake, and we are still in the year of the snake. The U.S. had entered World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and 9/11 all happened in the year of the snake. Now just be aware of the news, and the war events will be escalating into massive events. Unfortunately for what the reptilian controllers have in store for the population, just be aware, and thank you.
We are in the process of moving into the year of the red fire horse, and as I told you guys on my New Year's live, the new year isn't until the spring. So
I'm actually on my way out to see Avatar: Fire and Ash, but as I was asking my daughter the name of the movie, I'm like, what's the name of this one? And she was like, Fire and Ash. I'm like, something clicked for me. I know I had to come make a video real quick. Y'all know 2026 is the year of the fire horse, and the fire is not always about destruction. Fire destroys what's false, but it also fertilizes what's next. This is just my theory. Hear me clearly when I say this. My theory, my thought. Avatar has always been about cycles. Nature versus control. Power versus harmony. What happens when force try to dominate what's alive? Fire symbolically is transformation, it's passion, it's exposure. Ash is what's left once that truth burns through the illusion. Stay with me, I know I'm gonna bring it together. So the ash is not actually the end, it's the receipts. That fire horse energy of 2026 carries that same energy. That horse represents movement and freedom. I just talked about this in my last video, how 21st through the 24th of December, rest, stillness, pause, transformation is on the way. So harvest is going to come after March, which is 2026. Horse also represents momentum and independence. The fire just adds the urgency to it. Together that equals fast change, like I've been telling y'all. It is 9-year energy. It's time for you to wrap some shit up. That's why I say y'all need to pause and get right with God, aka yourself. There's going to be a lot of bold X's, whether that be friendships, relationships, career-wise, whatever the case may be. It's going to be coming fast and hard. I see how them systems are just collapsing one after the other because they cannot keep up. They cannot sustain the frequency that this earth is moving to. If you watched Avatar before, then it's time that you notice the pattern. You got those who exploit nature, who always feel like they're in control. And you got those over there that's aligned with the land and they move completely differently. And eventually what happens? The imbalance corrects itself. One thing about nature is not going to negotiate, it's just going to recalibrate. We're looking at 2026 through that lens, hypothetically speaking. It'll be a little bit chaotic, but it's not for no reason. This is the official year where everything artificial burns off. As I mentioned before, those masks that you've been wearing, time for them to go. This is the time where false power gets exposed. People choose alignment over obedient. Ash is just the accountability. Ash is what's left when you can't hide no more. What I've come to learn is you don't fear the fire when you are aligned. You only fear the fire when you're not. So perhaps Fire and Ash is not just a movie title. It's a reminder of the cycle that we are already in. Learn what doesn't belong and then use the remains to build something that's real. If it ain't real, it gotta go. 2026 is not about destruction. It's about correction. Once again, just my thoughts. Facts for me. I don't know what it is for you. Of course, y'all know I'm gonna come back to break the movie down. I'll get in them comments and let me know your thoughts. Peace, love, and light, and gratitude for watching.
I agree. And you guys know on my live, I talked about that, and I'm just seeing that, and it's funny because that's how I know I'm in alignment, because during that time, during Christmas break, that's exactly what I did. So that's funny.
They never told you that in many situations, tribal courts can override state authority. When something happens on native land, it isn't automatically a state issue. Tribal courts have the legal right to hear cases, enforce tribal law, and decide outcomes, even when states assume they're in charge. What they don't teach is that tribal courts aren't optional or symbolic. They exist because native nations never surrendered the right to govern themselves. Federal courts have repeatedly ruled that states cannot interfere in internal tribal matters unless Congress clearly allows it. That includes civil disputes, family law, contracts, and many criminal cases. This is why jurisdiction confuses people. It's not broken. It's layered. Tribal authority comes first on tribal land. State authority comes later, and only when allowed. When states overstep, tribes take them to court, and often win, because treaties and federal law back tribal jurisdiction. The controversy isn't that tribal courts have power. The controversy is that most people were taught they shouldn't. But sovereignty doesn't disappear just because it makes someone uncomfortable. If law should follow truth instead of assumptions, share this and follow for more native truths.
If you left Earth right now at the speed of light, say goodbye to everyone you know. Let's say you travel to the nearest star, Proxima Centauri, and come back immediately. To you, the trip feels instant. 0 seconds pass. Because at light speed, time stops completely. You don't age, you don't even breathe. But when you land back on Earth, something is wrong. While you were instantly gone, 35 years have passed for everyone else. Your dog is dead. Your friends are older. The world has moved on. Speed creates a prison of time. You can travel far, but you can never travel back to when you left. Subscribe before time runs out.
Dang, that's crazy.
The other day, the internet went crazy about a dress my wife had on. Now, they didn't say anything about the $4 million that was raised for the United Negro College Fund. They never mentioned that she prayed until heaven came down. But insecure, jealous, petty, small-minded people got in their feelings and set up a false barometer of holiness based off of a dress. The dress was not see-through. The dress was flesh color. I need to set the record straight. I bought the dress. And I like it. I don't care whether you like it or not. She ain't mad to y'all. She mad to me. If you wanted a first lady that looked like Little House on the Prairie and Holly Hobbie, you got the wrong church. I wanted a wife I would rush home to, that I wanted to be excited to see. When we walked in there, I said, shake it fast, watch yourself.
Lord Jesus. Okay, number one, I like the dress. The dress is nice, and I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. She looks good in that dress. Side note, she does resemble Giselle, and it's obvious he has a type. Quiet as kept. Second, well, my next point is, I'm not trying to give a stigma like you have to dress a certain kind of way, but let's just be quite clear. Like it wasn't flesh, it wasn't her skin, but it was skin tone. So it was the illusion, and it's just kind of like, what picture are we painting here? I ain't saying she got to be having no pants skirt. I'm not saying, and let me be clear. I seen a picture of Giselle. If I can find it, I'm gonna put it here. But Giselle had the same kind of outfit on, but she had the pantsuit. It's just the fact of the matter is, if you are supposed to be, but then again, let me say this. I'm not gonna even say that because this is Jamal Bryant, so it's perfect for them.
So thousands of Diddy employees are complaining that they're not getting paid while he's in prison. They are coming out on social media completely outraged, but guys, it gets much worse, so keep watching. As you can see, this original post that they thought everybody was going to help them with got 2.5 million views and only 3,000 likes. People are actually very mad at the employees. Still choosing to be employed by that man is insane. 100,000 likes. So as you can see from the replies, people are not happy that they're still employees for him. I mean, dude, people still have to make a living. Like, they still have families they need to provide for, and just because he's literally a very bad criminal does not mean they can just stop getting paid. Guys, a lot of people are in those situations and they're not like, okay, he's a criminal, so I'm gonna decide to be his employee. He's had employees for so long, so y'all have to have at least a little bit of sympathy for the employees, because it's actually, they're low-key the victims. They had a perfect job being employed by him, and then now since he came out as like the worst person on earth, like they're either lose their job or not getting paid. So what do y'all think about this?
I mean, shit, they ain't getting paid anyway, so they might as well leave. But I will say this: I did read that TriStar Management is his managing company, or the person that deals with the payments and everything. And if you guys remember from a while ago, one of my videos, we talked about TriStar with Britney Spears, the Kardashians, and Diddy, and let's just say Lou Taylor. I ain't surprised. Next on the docket today.
Another high name is getting taken out for their over-sexualized personality, as well as not being able to get told no. Y'all got this is L.A. Reid. L.A. Reid has a new sexual assault case that kicks off next week, and guess who's going to testify? John Legend. Y'all, I always knew that John Legend, something might have been happening to him. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly. But at the end of the day, now the new case is to start, and regardless of whatever, you think John Legend is going to be testifying against him or with him? Y'all, let me know in the comments down below, because this is crazy. Now, L.A. Reid is being accused of all of the grooming, all of the sexual assault, all of the, the hiring and the firing and the not being able to be told no, and just using their power as their dang on hand. At the end of the day, a lot of people want to be a star. Just because people want to be a star does not mean that you can use your power to get whatever you want out of them. This is very sad that all of the dang on high people in the industry are getting taken down, but guess what? Take them down one by one. We gotta obviously recreate the industry because they've been doing it all wrong.
Plus Tyler Perry, Donnie McClurkin just had something. I mean, the list goes on and it ain't gonna stop. This what they do, allegedly. I ain't trying to get no issues, allegedly.
Fat Joe on his R. Kelly-ish, his former hype man filed a $20 million lawsuit accusing Fat Joe of having relations with minors and paying for a 15-year-old girl's BBL. The former hype man also is accusing Fat Joe of making him participate in humiliating intimate acts. Terrence Dixon is Fat Joe's former hype man and actually made allegations against Fat Joe on social media here this year, accusing Fat Joe of these crimes. Now, in response to his allegations, Fat Joe hit him with a defamation lawsuit, and instead of him doubling back the claims, he actually upped the stakes, and Fat Joe with a lawsuit included all of these heinous allegations. According to Variety, Fat Joe is being accused of labor exploitation, financial fraud, sexual manipulation, violent intimidation, and psychological coercion. On to allege that Roc Nation was a part of this and helped Fat Joe cover up all of these claims. Claims that he personally witnessed Fat Joe engaging in these acts with 15 and 16-year-old girls, alleging that he paid a 16-year-old Dominican girl in exchange for ORAL. He's claiming that Fat Joe would shower them with cash and clothes, and he even claims that Fat Joe was messing with a 15-year-old girl from overseas, that he would frequently fly the girl over here to the States and even pay for her to allegedly get a BBL because her body wasn't quote-unquote fully developed. This former hype man even went on to allege that Joe was in love with the girl to leave his wife for her. He claims that Fat Joe would fly the girl out to some of their tour stops and even bought her a condo near his home. He even has a recorded phone conversation of one of the girls talking about the relationship she has with Fat Joe. On top of all of this, he is alleging that Fat Joe made him engage in acts as well. He is claiming that there was somewhere near 4,000 of of them, and he claims that Fat Joe would threaten to leave him out of the country wherever they were at doing this, and he claims that Fat Joe would threaten to fire him, and he would basically lose his form of income. He claims that there are recordings of these situations as well, and this is literally insane. I cannot believe Fat Joe is being accused of being on his R. Kelly and Diddy-ish. I'm curious to know what y'all think regarding this. Let me know down in the comments, y'all. Peace.
I don't have any words for this, but I will say one thing. That last picture of him really looks sus. It did not help this whole entire situation. It looked really like, oh Lord. So we've made it to the end of this super, super long video. I hope you guys stood to the end with me. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to ramble. It's been a long video. See you guys next week with a brand new video. And I love you guys very much. Thank you guys for all your support. And until I see you guys next week, y'all be safe, be good, and mwah, mwah, mwah.